Today on the Extreme Channel, we're going to do something a little bit different. No, we're not going to get rid of "that's what she said" jokes, because face it, this is a huge python.
That's what she said.
Hey, I'm Mr. X. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're looking at a very different piece by Queen Studios. That's right, the same studios that is doing those amazing silicone life-size busts. I actually own about 7 Queen Studios pieces, anywhere from this Heath Ledger Joker right here to this giant Thanos bust. Here's that awesome Loki bust they made. And then we have their Python versus Nile CROCODILE diorama. This is a piece that people don't talk about much, and I've had it for a long time. I think I got in on the initial PO. Now, the reason I purchased him is I don't know if it's a him. The reason why I purchased this is because I wanted to put it with my dinosaur collection. That's right, I have a lot of Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, some dragons, and I thought that this would look fantastic next to them. And guess what? As usual, I was right. I just like to say that on here because I can't say it to my wife. I never reviewed this piece, so I'm actually traveling during the holidays and I wanted to continue to deliver daily content to you guys. So today we're going to take an in-depth look at this piece because it's pretty rare. They made less than 100 of these. And as usual, Queen Studios is awesome with quality, and this piece is no exception. Now, before we dive into the extreme review, check this out. As a thank you to you guys, we're giving away these 2 exclusive Mortal Kombat statues from Pop Culture Shock Toys. We've already given away this Sub-Zero. It's being shipped to the winner of the 15,000 sub giveaway. Up for grabs at 17,500 subs is this exclusive Scorpion statue. First thing you need to do is make sure you've liked this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Second thing is we're going to pick random videos. This is one of those random videos, and insert this segment somewhere. You need to make sure you comment on that video. We are going to pick a random comment from one of said videos, and you will be the winner of this Scorpion statue. All right, so as usual, we're going to start with concept of this piece, and this isn't the only thing that makes this piece, but it's one of the biggest things that makes this piece because it's badass. So this is kind of a museum piece. You can tell obviously by the sub-museum black base around the outside. On top of that, you actually have the battleground where this is taking place. You can tell this is just out of the water. There's actually some cool water effects we'll look at during paint and sculpt. And then they are up on the shores or the rocks in the middle of the lake. And it is an epic battle. I actually used to own a python for 12 years, and then he passed away. His name was Theodore. We called him Teddy for short. So I know a lot of this isn't 100% accurate, but it's still pretty badass. The python has the crocodile constricted, and the crocodile is kind of leaning back trying to bite him, and the python's coming in ready to bite him again. This really shows 2 super predators in the wild going at it, which I really love because these are also 2 super predators that I think most people are afraid of. Now, we don't know how big this is or what the scale is supposed to be. It's still a very cool scene. Reminds you of nature, and like I said, this is kind of a museum piece as well. I think if you're a collector that likes museum stuff, you like the wilderness, you like animals, you like badass super predators like this is a cool piece for you because a lot of this stuff besides the concept is also pretty cool. So when it comes to concept on this piece, I think it's done superbly. I actually give it a 5 out of 5 on the concept. You know, realistically, I was thinking about taking away a point because it's not entirely accurate. A python probably wouldn't be doing this while he actually constricted. It'd look boring, a real life version of how this battle would be going on. All right, now let's talk about design on this piece. So it's been a while since I unboxed it. It is all one piece. It came in a giant box because it was great packaging to protect the python so it didn't break. It is extremely heavy. I want to give you a heads up on that. Let's measure it really quick. So the longest part of the oval is a little over 23 inches. Then if you decide that this is the front and back, that's about 18 inches. Then the highest point on the python is right at 14 inches. So it does have some display obstacles you might run into. However, you can kind of display it however you want. There's a lot of good angles for this. And you almost want to put it in a 360, and it's nice because it is kind of a museum piece. So like on the middle of a conference table right here, it could set. Now I only have one issue with the design. It's inside the crocodile's mouth. Take a look right here, it's closed off, which I don't like. I know you can do a lot of different effects with paint and even a little bit with the sculpt where they could have made it into a larger throat where it's not closed off, so it's a little bit more realistic, or even a flap in the back of his throat. I think that was really the only missed opportunity with design. So I think the design's also a 4 out of 5 on this piece. It's really well done. The paint and sculpt are equally as impressive. So let's actually dive into some video and take some close-ups. So as we dive in, the Black Museum sub base here is nothing special, nothing amazing. Let's start with the top of that, this resin water effect. I think it looks fantastic. It looks like real water. I like how it's kind of leached up on the sides of the land to give it a realism effect, and there's branches and twigs. Very muddy, but it's still transparent, so I really appreciate that. In real life, it'd probably be a little bit more cloudy, but obviously this looks much better. And even the small detail, like the twigs and sticks back here. The rocks I'm not a huge fan of. They have a little bit of a plastic look to them, but the paint's done really well. Same with the mud. It's not bad, but it's not fantastic right here. So the base is overall fantastic. I mean, it really gives you that realism sense. So let's start looking at the croc here. First, I think they did a nice job. The paint, I wish it was more of a realistic dirty. It's a little bit too clean for me. They did add some mud, which looks fantastic, like here on the leg. But it almost, it doesn't look like a real crocodile. It's a little bit too light, I think. But the skin texture could have been a little bit more. There are some scale effects right there with the spikes on his back. I like how the color changes on his underbelly here. Very realistic. And you see more of that pattern. Here's more of his leg coming out of the mud. I think that they did a good job with that effect. And there's a slight glisten to him, not much, but in certain areas, and it's not the same as the water effect that's coming up on the rocks like right here. Checking out his portrait. They did a really nice job other than the design part I talked about. But his eye right there, his teeth. Here's the interior of his mouth. Other than the fact that you can see the back of it, it looks nice. Good mix of the colors you see in there. I mean, right there, there's probably about 15 or 20 different colors from the teeth to the inside of the mouth to the outside of the skin. I think the python is done even better. Has the scale appearance that a typical python would with the patterned brown and yellow and black. And I like how it's sculpted. You know, obviously you don't see the underside of it, but the flow of it is so well that you would think he is underneath the actual crocodile. And even like where the muscles are bending right here, very realistic. Big fan of the python. And especially the portrait. So they did a nice job here. Very fierce, very menacing. Good job on the interior of the teeth sticking out as he would be before he strikes again. Like I said, not really the most realistic pose, but the anatomy and the sculpt and the paint is done very well. And he also has a slight glistening effect you can see in the light, which I think helps. So he just shed his skin, presumably. And then the underside of the python you can see right there, again, very realistic. So really well done. There's some dirt right here on the crocodile head that we didn't talk about. So the paint sculpt is extremely impressive on this. Few areas of slight opportunity, like even the rock right here. But that's not what you're drawn to. You're drawn to the water effect. You're drawn to the crocodile and python fighting. This is one of those statues that everyone wants to touch the water effect. And even where the python's coming out of the water right here, nice job on that effect as well. So overall, very impressed. So normally we rank paint and sculpt different, but honestly, on this piece, I think they're both done really well. There's still a little bit of opportunity as we saw. So I'm gonna put them in the same ranking. They are also both a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Let's talk about value. So I said they made less than 100. They actually made 99. And it retailed for $1,000. So that is pretty pricey despite a low edition size. And honestly, I don't know the market of something like this. Like what kind of market of collectors are actually looking for something of this nature. Like I said, it's more of a museum piece. Maybe people who are really into nature or animals would really want this. Like I said, I don't know the exact scale on this. I'm guessing it's anywhere from like 1/5 to 1/7. but it scales really well with large dinosaur pieces. If you want to see what that looks like, check out the Extreme Channel Facebook page and Instagram page, because that's where I post pictures of stuff like that. The link is in the description below. But when you add shipping on top of the $1,000, I don't remember how much shipping initially was, but obviously if I shipped it off, I think I wouldn't have a tough time getting my money back, but I think it would be pretty close. So I think the value is just a 3 out of 5 on this piece. It's done really well. I just don't know the market well enough to know how desired this piece is. However, I can tell you when we talk about the X factor of this piece, this was one I actually considered selling. I'm really glad I put him on the review table because now I'm not going to sell him. I forgot how good this piece was. While I don't think it's a 5 out of 5 statue, I think it's a 4 out of 5 statue. It's done really well and it's really impressive on a lot of different fronts. And really big props to Queen Studios because they kind of have their hands in everything. And with this piece, they've done a few other animal dioramas that I'm actually tempted to pick up because of this piece. So huge props to Queen Studios on that. Let me know what you think of this piece. Would you ever buy something like this? It doesn't go with traditional movie or Marvel stuff. Make sure you've liked this video. If you like stuff like this, hit that subscribe button, that Mr. X logo, and check out some of these other videos. Until tomorrow, take care.